What's going on YouTube? So Subaru's lineup has really been expanding a lot recently, and we're standing next to their latest all-new addition. This is the 2026 Subaru Trailseeker. So this is a brand new model, like I was saying, to their lineup, and it's kind of positioned as a mid-size SUV, but it has an electric powertrain. So we want to know, is this an electric version of the Subaru Outback? Well, let's go ahead and find out. So let's start out here with the exterior design. Now, one of the interesting things is that Subaru just redesigned the Outback to be a little bit more boxy and more SUV-like than ever before. And I actually think this new Trailseeker kind of picks up where the previous generation Outback left off. This is a little bit more sloped off and a little bit more wagon-like in its overall appearance. Now, up here in the front, you'll notice you have a pretty smooth-looking design. It's got a black element up here at the top. You have a flat version of the Subaru logo. The camera's kind of off-centered there. And then most of the grille is going to be sealed off because, of course, this is an electric vehicle. Down here on our lower fascia, we have a silver finish going on. And overall ground clearance is pretty decent for an electric SUV. As far as our lighting, they introduced a new design element on both this and the updated Solterra, which has these dash designs for their electric vehicles. It definitely stands out in the overall appearance. And then we have projector LED headlights down here inside of this piece of cladding. And by the way, that ground clearance figure is 8.3 inches to be exact. Now, taking a look at our wheels, you're going to have choices between 18 and 20-inch alloy options. We've got a really nice looking contrast design on board with the multi-spoke design. The more noticeable design feature, though, is the cladding. So it actually moves from the front seamlessly into the fender and then around the wheel arches here for a very bold design. It certainly makes it look quite off-road capable. In terms of our mirrors, we have a gloss black finish. I don't have any details about the exact feature set, but I can tell that it does have blind spot monitoring.
Now at this side of the new Trailseeker, you will see that more wagon-esque design theme, especially compared to that new Outback, which has gone for a more squared-off overall look. So whether you like that or not, that'll be up to you. And as far as overall vehicle length, if you're curious as to how it compares to Subaru's first EV, the Solterra, it's about 6 inches longer and about an inch taller. So it's definitely not as sleek as that model. And we do have things like raised roof rails up at the top, which is not on the Solterra, which has kind of the flat roof rail setup. Now, as we head around to the rear design, I am seeing quite a few elements in common with that new Subaru Outback that they just revealed as well. So you'll notice up here at the top, we have a spoiler, a wiper right through the center section, and just like the new Outback, we have a full-length LED taillight. Now, the taillight itself is slightly different. Of course, it's not the exact same unit, and I am noticing that we have Subaru spelled out across the back, and that's kind of implanted into the taillight unit itself. It is a very premium overall look to it. I expect every element in this unit to be fully LED, which is different than the Outback, which actually has some incandescent elements. We have our Trailseeker branding down here, and then as far as the lower fascia, a lot of that rugged matte plastic. You can tow up to 3,500 pounds with the Trailseeker. Now, as far as safety is concerned for the Trailseeker, you are going to get every single eyesight safety system as standard equipment. That's all of your active safety features. Additionally, it is going to include things like a traffic jam assist function. But guys, there's a lot going on the inside that we need to dive into. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then, we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
No matter what you're looking for, from sound level readings to cargo measurements, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars. All right, let's move to the interior next. We have a smart entry system on board. And then opening up the door, and we'll take a look at the interior. So as you can see, this is a really big departure from the typical Subaru interior, and that's actually because this vehicle does share some componentry with Toyota, as far as the platform and some of the interior pieces, just like they have done with the Solterra as well. But before we get into individual details, we'll take a look at these seats. Nice looking seat design here, perforation running through here. This is a leatherette, and we have it two-tone finish. 10 ways of power adjustment here with two-way lumbar support as well. And I don't have exact information about other versions of this vehicle. I do believe this is a fully loaded example with memory seats right there on the door trim. But let's go ahead and climb inside. And now that we're inside, let's look around at cabin materials first of all. Now over here on our door trim, we've got the leatherette, I should say, pad that runs through there. Soft touch plastic along the top. Again, we have Toyota door handles here and Toyota window switches. The upper part of the dash has a textured plastic. Through the center section, we have a light colored textured plastic. And then our console area, this is not going to be padded, but it does feel pretty solid. Now this actually has a traditional push-button start, even though it's an electric vehicle. But what is certainly not traditional is the layout of this gauge cluster. So as you can see, they have this display pushed way back here. So this kind of doubles as your gauge cluster and a head-up display in essence. So you get both of them on board. They've also squared off the steering wheel, so it actually gives you a pretty good line of sight over top of the steering wheel to that screen. The screen itself is actually pretty small in terms of this housing. I'm not sure why this is so much bigger than the screen right there, being about 7 inches it looks like. Again, the steering wheel, unusual shape because it's completely squared off on the top and the bottom. We have a lot of buttons over here on the side as well. It's manual, tilt, and telescoping. Rain sensing wipers are included on this. And we'll turn over here and take a look at the storage next. Oh, I had to think like a Toyota. That's the reason why it opens to the side. Kind of like it does in the Crown Signia. And you can see inside there, pretty deep storage cubby. 2 cup holders right there. One of the cool things about this is we have a double wireless phone charging pad set up. So you can do it on both the driver and the passenger side simultaneously. Big old center pass-through as well. So a lot of nice storage solutions inside of this midsize 2-row SUV. Shifter-wise, we have an electronic rotary style shifter. This will have an available 360 camera as well. And then as you look above, one of the interesting things is that we've got a display setup, which is essentially borrowed straight from the Lexus lineup because we have the large display here of about 14 inches with the climate controls and the audio setup embedded right into the screen itself. It does also come with the same software as the Toyota and Lexus products, so not really the traditional Starlink system, but you will still have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay abilities, as well as some familiarity with the Subaru lineup. Up above, we've got the auto-dimming mirror with HomeLink universal remotes built in. We actually don't have a sunroof on this example. I'm not sure if one's available. Subaru hasn't really announced that detail quite yet, but even though this is a pretty loaded model, we don't have the sunroof.
And let's go ahead and talk about the rear seats for the Trailseeker. This area is going to be pretty good for this model. Once again, this is a very early first look. We plan on covering this extensively in more detail later on this year. However, just based on my professional estimation, I've been in a lot of different vehicles, and I'm saying you have over 40 inches of rear legroom. There is a ton of room back here. I'm 5'9" for reference. This seat is actually slid pretty much all the way back, and there's still tons of room. My feet can also easily slide up underneath of the seat. Very comfortable rear seat setup as well. And then we do have a nice fold-down central armrest with cup holders inside. As far as features are concerned, here in the upper part, you'll notice that we have heated back seats. That's definitely a nice feature. The Outback also has that. USB-C ports, and then we have our signature Toyota rear climate vents back here. As far as the door trim is concerned, soft touch on the upper part, leatherette through the center section, and then we also have a little bit of bottle storage down in the very bottom. Let's see how much cargo space we're going to have. If I press the button, well, actually, we're not going to see how much cargo space it has because, unfortunately, I think the battery is dead or it's glitched out. So we'll have to come look at it from the second row. Well, so there's your look at the cargo area. Of course, that's not ideal. I wish the tailgate would open up, but, it's been at the auto show all day, so there's a lot of people that get in and out of them, and eventually they just kind of explode because they are prototypes after all. So as far as the cargo space is concerned, looking here from the second row, it looks to be a good amount of space. It looks pretty similar to something like the Subaru Outback, at least in the previous generation. I'm estimating maybe 65 cubic feet as a maximum with those seats folded down. It does appear to be quite a bit less space than the boxier new Outback that they just released. So that's something to keep in mind. If you need the maximum amount of cargo space, you might want to choose that instead. And the seats do fold 60-40 split.
And let's talk about what is powering this new Trailseeker model. So with this, it's really just one way that you can get it. It's going to be a 74.7 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery pack with dual motor all-wheel drive that makes the symmetrical all-wheel drive system work. 375 horsepower is your total system power, so actually quite good in terms of power. Now, the other numbers are a little disappointing. So our peak charging is 150 kilowatts, so that's pretty slow by today's standards. And Subaru is estimating a range of 260 miles, which is also going to be on the lower side for midsize electric SUVs, and about 20 miles short of the smaller Solterra that you see behind me.
Now let's talk pricing and availability. Unfortunately, Subaru has not really released much. They've been pretty tight-lipped about availability and pricing when it comes to this model. So we are expecting availability to be quite a bit later because they're just now showing this product off. I would expect in the 2026 calendar year that you can find one of these Trailseekers hitting maybe Q1 of 2026. It would be my professional estimation. As far as pricing is concerned, I would also expect a pretty similar price point to the Solterra. Actually, a little bit more expensive than that, but overall a decent price point for what you are getting here with this new Subaru Trailseeker. We, of course, look forward to covering it in more detail later on as well, so stay tuned to the channel for that. If you're looking to buy a Subaru Trailseeker or any new vehicle, we'd also encourage you to go to carconfections.com/new car quotes. Now, the reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. Once more, you can find that in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. And guys, that's where we're going to leave off on this first look review of the all-new 2026 Subaru Trailseeker. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, which we surely hope you did, we'd really appreciate you subscribing down below. Of course, it's going to keep you up to date on the latest reviews on vehicles like this. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies. And if you're already a subscriber, thanks for your continued support.